So I'm not saying you're lazy. I'm not saying you're lazy. I'm not even lazy. I know I work hard, but when I say painting a lazy way, sometimes we get stressed out, we get really tight on the details, and it ruins our painting experience. So what if there's another way to try right now, lazy painting, where we can relax a little bit more, that can help us stop worrying so much, go a little bit quicker, don't worry about the results, let go of perfectionism, and just have a great time. Today I'm teaching you guys how to paint a landscape, and I'm so excited because we're setting the timer for 15 minutes. And we'll see how we do. If you go over 15, which I go over a little bit, it's okay, but it's giving you a space to practice how you would like to practice, making it more soothing and exciting, and making you want to go back to the painting table. So let's get to painting. So today I'm using my masking tape. I'm gonna put that over the border areas here. And the paper I'm using is just a cheap journal. Nothing special, nothing fancy. I want this painting experience to be very relaxing. And because we are focusing on a simple landscape, painting the lazy way, so to speak, we're just going to use things that are not going to get in the way of being relaxed. So if I'm using expensive paper, sometimes that gets in the way of me feeling like I can just kind of free flow and paint and not worry about wasting anything expensive. I hope that makes sense. So I've got this here. I've got a little clip. I am going to clip this down just in case things want to start bubbling up, warping when I put the water on here when we're painting. So I've got my water jar. I've got my paper towel for dabbing. My watercolor paints, we spray them down. And I've got several brushes. Now, I have a variety. This little guy is out of control. And I've got a classic number 8 round, number 12 round. So I will probably use this one mostly because the larger brush, looser results. And then for the details, I'm going to use a liner. It's just a really thin brush to get some nice grasses. But if you don't have that, just really light pressure with a number 2 round and you'll be good to go. I also want to show you that I've got some paper towels, and that's going to be for dabbing our paper towel clouds, which it's a method that I really love. So let's get to our painting. I'm going to start with the largest brush I have, very loose hold. You guys asked for more landscapes, so here we go. But we're going to set our timer for 15 minutes, and I'm just going to do that on my computer here to give you guys a space to be able to, just limit yourself so that you don't feel stressed out about the amount of time that you have to paint. So I'm actually going to do this on my watch. All right, let's get to it. So lots of water on my brush, and I'm just going to start with the sky. I do love a nice cobalt blue, so we're going to go with that. And some of your blues are going to be more staining than others, so just as you're doing your paper towels. But let's get to this, to paper towel clouds. So we start with a darker amount, more concentrated at the top, typically. And again, lazy, quick painting. So we are going to just really have this beautiful intention of having a good time, right? This is not something that should be stressful. So take a breath right now. If you're feeling stressed in any way, I've got that lovely color. I'm taking off some of the color on my brush. I'm just gonna bring this down pretty far to about there, not halfway, but I don't know, what is that, 2/5 or something? And there's a lot of paint here. So just covering that up, and you're just going back and forth, blending and mixing. We're going pretty fast. If you need to pause the video, you absolutely can. Take your paper towel right away, and however you want to hold it, but I just like to blot out some clouds, and I'm actually just gonna hold it right now and blot out as quick as you can because you don't know how quickly this dries. And so once it dries, you can't keep blotting out that blue. So this is lifting really nicely, and I'm going to do some thinner ones right here. Just have so much fun. This is quick, this is easy, this is to be playful. Don't worry about the end result, you guys, okay? And if that's all you can do, that's it. You leave it, you can walk away with this part. Cute little cloudies, I love it. Okay, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So now we're gonna start with a few of the other parts. This brush is great if you want to switch to a smaller one. Guess I'm gonna do that. Sometimes I'm not sure what I'm doing. We're gonna put in some mountains in the back, really easy peasy. So I'm gonna grab quickly, I don't know, you can do some gray. I've got this Payne's gray. There's some green in there. I'm just gonna move it over here, get a nice little gray brown color. And one of the tricks for doing these beautiful paintings that are not stress-free, and hold this, or that are not stress-free, that are stress-free, hold it loosely, I'll get to that in a second, is we're just gonna drag in this. Let's go a little bit higher. And just dragging it over for that mountain area. Really light color. These are in the background, these are in the distance, so they're not gonna show up quite that intensely, right? They're gonna be very light. Just that background color. I'm gonna go over this too. And you can add more details later, but right now we're just gonna keep it easy like this, okay? So holding that brush really loosely. I'm actually gonna do some strips of color. Let's see. Let's do some brown. So if you have any burnt sienna or burnt umber, it's a good time to kind of do that. So, and these might meld together because they're wet, and that's okay. I just want to get that color quickly on the page. So that first layer. So these are some of the tips that I'm sharing with you on how to paint in a lazy way, in a way that's not belaboring the whole process. One of the big things to keep in mind is just to observe the basic shapes of your landscape. And then that will help you know what you want to put in. Those basic shapes are going to give you a really nice idea of what you'd like to focus on. If you do too many details, it's going to get a little bit crazy. Here's a green. This one you can add some brown to your green if you would like, and start doing that same thing, kind of adding in maybe a little bit of a darker version. A little blue makes it a little cooler. Just adding some of that in. You see some wet on wet is happening here, and that's okay. Allow them to spread. It's just that first layer. Don't be afraid of this. Just see what comes out of this painting. I mean, look at the clouds already. They look fabulous. That's a lot of detail. We don't have to do so much detail over here. I do want to put a path in here and reserve some space for maybe some wildflowers. So within that, I'm going to grab some green. So let's go ahead, quickly add in or put our brush in there and grab some of those greens so they're prepared in a little puddle. Guys, if this is feeling fast, remind yourself this is supposed to be a quick painting. It's something that you're doing the basic shapes and you're seeing how it turns out. So I'm gonna have a path coming through, starting here and kind of going here, but I'm actually going to use the greens and the ground colors to kind of paint around where the path will be. So let's see how this turns out. We've got it starting here, really skinny, and then we can, really skinny over here. And then maybe it starts to go this way here, and then kind of curving around. Seems really abstract, I know. And it can feel a little bit like what's going on here, but we're just playing with the color and we're just adding in what we want to add in to make this come alive. So here's the fun part. Start putting in little blocks of color just quickly. If your brush starts to dry out, you can even add some brown in there. Drying out, that's okay, because then you'll get some beautiful, look at this, dry brushing effect, which is gorgeous. I love that. So some of you might not like that idea. Painting the lazy way, what does that mean? Are we being lazy? Well, don't think too much about it. It's simply, I'm going to add in some blue here. You're not thinking too much, you're just doing. And if you don't like the end result, you can try it again, right? I'm just wanting to create this beautiful look here of all these colors coming in. Because when you look at this landscape from far away, you're not seeing details. You're just seeing a mass of colors. So that's what we're trying to emulate here. And this is the first layer. So again, less detail. It's just about getting those, the placement of those colors down, okay? Using big brushes does help you. At least it helps me to paint pretty loosely. It gives me kind of a reminder, and this is not a huge brush, but I just wanted to do smaller blocks of color here. It's a reminder to go faster, to paint loosely. And you've got some maybe medium values of color, so the lightness and darkness. You can go in like this and grab some really dark value and add that over the top and start adding it into your puddles of color. Again, just don't think too much. Just put this down. It doesn't matter how it turns out. I'm going to check in with you. Are you having fun? I really hope so. So another way, minimal details is a way to create fast and beautiful paintings that, just don't stress you out. And we set the timer for 15 minutes. We'll see if we even need that much. Probably will, because the time is starting to pass a little bit quickly, but it doesn't matter. And you can take 15 or 30. Typically, my paintings will take 30 or 40 minutes. So that's why for me, 15 minutes is a good amount. So I've got my color here. I've got some beautiful blooms that are happening where color is pushing back the other color. I like what's happening here. My path is, it's a little messy, and we'll clean it up in just a moment. Let's go ahead and dry this and start with the next details. Friends, we are partially into our painting experience, and I want to remind you, if you are liking this video, please go over, stop what you're doing, and like the button. Like the button, press the button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button as well with the notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. Okay, back to painting. So how are you feeling so far? Hopefully this lazy way is actually a way to help you feel more confident because you're just playing, right? We're just playing. So I've got this big brush again. I'm going to go over my mountains and just do a little more details. So there's a dark Payne's gray. This is more of a navy. Dabbing my brush. I've got a more concentrated version here, and I'm literally just, oh, that's a little dark, but that's okay. Just going to go over this a little bit and add in some details of shadow. See how fast I'm doing this? I'm just going over the top, or maybe some shadows, or some places are where the rock is carved in a little bit. And then you can even go and add in a different color. So this beautiful reddish brown, can add a little bit on that too, so that you have some light pressure, just light pressure, adding in some lines and some curvatures. Just a little bit. And then more concentrated, I'm going back and forth with this, darkening up that ground that we had put in originally, just like that. And if I don't like the boldness of something, I can just go ahead and blend it in, all right? So that's happening. I can blend some of this in, some color if I want, just really quickly. What do I want to do with the ground? Well, I want to take my smaller brush, my medium brush, the number 8. I see I have about 3 or 4 minutes left. So I'm going to grab some of this, which is that grayish color, dab my brush, and then we're just going to do these kind of back and forth motions. That's too light. Let's try something a little bit darker. So this is for that path, right? Just adding in some color. I do want to keep it more that gray instead of white, because white is kind of crazy, right? Why would it be white? So we're just going to put in some of those lines there. And then what else do we want to do? I'm going to let that dry and add more stuff, but I do want to kind of define this area a little bit more here. Dab your brush. So I'm just doing some quick little dots and dashes and some lines. And over the top, you probably want to do it pretty concentrated so it'll show up. So this could be like, lining of different rocks around there, different things that are just on the path. Just a little bit over here. Can barely see over there. Clean your brush, dab it. Okay. I love how there's all these blooms happening. I'm just blending a little bit. Little blooms happening. So that's really given me a lot of texture in my ground. I don't have to do much to it. Grabbing some of that darker, let's add that in, add that into this. Make a darker brown. And we can kind of add in some more little pieces here and there as well. And I do want to darken up the path when it's dry. So we can force it to dry if we would like. Blending that out. I'm going to dry this one more time, and then we'll add in a little bit more just in the grass area. We are almost done with this. All right, I see that my time is almost done. So I'm just going to do a little bit darker for the path, a little bit of this brown. And honestly, we're setting a timer, but that doesn't mean that we have to be done, right? So you can say 15 minutes, and then sometimes, as you're just scooting this around, you end up doing a lot more time because you're having such a good time. So that's okay. I wanted to stick to about 15. We'll probably go over a little bit, and that's all right. Because normally I would do 30 or 40. So see, I'm just gonna make in these little lines, just some darker and some lighter. Your path has pebbles and stones, shadows, always. So just make that kind of creative. I do want to use a small brush with my green, sap green here, and dab it so it's not puddly. And then we're just going to put in some quick, I guess I don't need to dab it. Let's see. It doesn't hold a lot of water. Where did that ant come from? Goodness gracious. See how I'm just flicking that brush from the bottom up. And this is where we start to add in some details because I was trying to keep it without details mostly, but I do like to have a few. So the grasses are going to add in that beautiful detail here. We can put them right by the path as well. You can go from the top down too if you want. And when we've got everything else is like pretty basic, not intense. So, you know, often when we're doing landscapes, we are just really tempted. Well, let's go really small here, by the way. Really tempted to just do all the details that we see in our reference photo. So I'm going to discourage you from doing that. Unless you're a detail person, that's fine. But if you want to do the lazy way, then just getting the basics. Because here's the thing, we don't always have time to paint, right? Or to draw. I'm just going to do some random ones around here. Really light, just thin little marks. I love the blooms that are happening. So that's keeping me from having to do a lot of details. So just, you can start with a puddly mess and then keep adding in a few little like puddly messes, and those puddles will kind of conjoin and push paint away and give you that nice little look. So even over here, you know, whether these are trees in the background or whatnot, just tiny, quick little brush strokes, okay? Quick, quick, quick. And at this point, don't feel bad if you've gone over your 15 or whatever you choose, whatever time limit you put on yourself. You are just playing and creating. And I hope you're really into this process. I hope this is inspiring you. And, you know, once we get to sitting down for our initial, okay, I'm going to paint, sometimes, and let's do a little shadow under here. I'm just going to use the same brush. Sometimes we can, you know, realize, okay, I do have a little more time to spend on this, and then we'll just paint longer. It's so good for you. So putting in a little bit of shadow under there. You can even take this little thin brush or whatever brush you're using and just add in some darker marks here and there. I don't know, shadow lines or whatever you want to call them. But just, you know, don't make it too intense, right? Just fun. Fun. So painting quickly, it really helps. There we go, a little extra color on here. You can see as we keep adding details and lighter and darker values, we start to build up more of that depth in our painting. My path has lots of color, lots of color here. So if you are satisfied with your painting, you can walk away. But if you feel like you want to keep going, you can. I'm just going to quickly add in a little bit extra color here, just because I like those warm tones for the mountains. But pretty simple, pretty easy. I hope this was eye-opening for you that you can go simple and you can go quick. Let's take off the tape. Taking off the tape is my favorite. Now, if you have a hard time and it's sticking, just heat it up and it'll be a lot easier for you, just like this. Okay, my friends, that's it. I really hope that you learned some new ways to enjoy your painting experience. And I hope this was really fun for you. I love doing landscapes, loose and easy, not worrying about the big details, but just doing it to help you relax and enjoy your day, especially if you're stressing out about something. I have some big news. I have to let you guys know that my course has started launching this week, and it's just for a couple days. If you want to learn more about landscapes, but florals and watercolored leaves and sketching flowers and sketching objects and watercolor basics, fundamentals and exercises and so much more, click the link below so you can learn more. And if you'd like, you can sign up. I'm so excited to share this brand new course with you, and I really hope you enjoy it. I hope to see you guys over there. And if you're not sure what to paint next, click the link in this video right here. Another loose watercolor landscape, very quick and easy that I'm sure you're really going to enjoy.